Hey, Wonderhussy here. Welcome to my campsite at Great Basin National Park. Great Basin is one of the least visited of all the national parks, and it's probably because of where it's located. It's way, way, way out in the middle of nowhere on the Nevada-Utah border, like 100 miles from any towns, and surrounded by vast, desolate, barren, sagebrush-covered high desert. They call this country Basin and Range because it basically looks like a giant hand on the California border and a giant hand on the Utah border sort of shoved the earth together and sort of crinkled up the landscape to form a series of long, skinny mountain ranges separated by wide, flat desert valleys or basins. And Great Basin National Park is located in, I think, the biggest of those mountain ranges. We ought to be able to get a pretty good view of what I'm talking about in just a bit here, because I'm getting ready to hike to the top of Wheeler Peak, which at just over 13,000 feet is the second highest mountain peak in Nevada, and it's one of the main attractions at this national park. Anyway, I camped out here last night on the beautiful Snake Creek in the kind of the southern part of the park. I don't really like staying in official campgrounds because the sites are always pretty close together, and well, I just kind of want to be alone in nature. But I also wanted to be somewhat close to the Wheeler Peak trailhead so that I could get a decently early start. Now, there were some campgrounds closer to the trailhead, but I had a feeling that those would be even more crowded because that's kind of where all the major attractions of this park are. So I came all the way out here, and well, gosh, it's beautiful. Moreover, I think you might actually have to pay to camp at the other campgrounds, but down here on the Snake River, these campsites are free, okay? And for that price, you get a couple picnic tables, there's a fire ring, and there's even a vault toilet back there behind my rig. But of course, wouldn't you know it, some dude had to come in last night and camp right next to me. This is why I like boondocking in the middle of nowhere. But I guess for being a free campsite in a national park, it's pretty good. Anyway, you're probably wondering why I'm wearing this bathrobe. And well, it's because I feel like I need to do another one of my trademark character building cold plunges. Just below that rock I was sitting on, there's a pretty deep little pool that I think I could submerge myself fully in. So I'm kind of just sitting here trying to work up the courage to do a quick cold plunge, even though that dude is like right over there. Anyway, I better stop procrastinating and do this cold plunge. Yikes. Okay, wow, I'm awake now. Okay, I'm at the trailhead. I parked, I put on my boots, and I'm particularly excited about these new hiking socks I'm wearing. I don't know if there's anything to it, but supposedly this brand called Darn Tough are the most comfortable hiking socks ever. So this will be the first hike that I test them out on. Curious to see if they live up to the marketing hype. Okay, and I also did some research into the stats. Total distance, about I think 8.2 miles. Total elevation gain, 2,900 feet. Okay, 4 miles up. So I'll be gaining 3,000 feet in 4 miles. It sounds like it's gonna be pretty steep. I feel pretty good. I put on sunblock so I don't get a burn. And well, I guess I'm gonna stop yakking and start hiking. Here we go. Oh yeah, just like I said, distance is actually 8.6 miles round trip. 2902 elevation gain. Time, 4 to 10 hours. 10 hours, yikes. I think I'm pretty fit, so I'm guessing I'll get it done closer to 4 hours. But hey, we'll see. Okay, here's the beginning of the trail. You can see it's kind of a mix of pines and aspen and the type of trees that you would expect to find around 10,000 feet. But I think we're going to be climbing up out of the tree zone pretty soon. And well, unfortunately, I think a lot of this hike is just going to be across a lunar scree field. But that's okay. It'll still be interesting. I mean, typically I hike about 3 miles an hour, maybe 2.5 miles an hour. But this being at elevation and pretty steep uphill, well, that's why I'm allowing myself 3 hours to get up, 2 hours to get down, 5 hours total. Should be back in my car around 4-ish, 4:30, which will give me plenty of time to cruise down and find some place to camp tonight. I thought about camping another night here in Great Basin, but, well, to be honest, aside from doing another hike, there's really not much I can do here because of the dang virus. The Lehman Caves, which is the other feature that this park is famous for. I guess there's this huge system of caves or caverns you can take a tour of, and they're supposed to be really beautiful. But I'm pretty sure it's closed right now because of the dang coronavirus. Shooting this right in the thick of the coronavirus pandemic, August 2020. Another bummer about it being the middle of a pandemic is the visitor center was closed. And, well, the only reason I really wanted to go in the visitor center was I wanted to see this rifle. Apparently, oh gosh, I think it was like in 2014, a park ranger or somebody hiking around found this rifle up here, leaning against a tree that was from like the 1800s. And it had been leaning against that tree all these years because, well, this is one of the least visited national parks, and it's a pretty remote part of the country. And I guess a lot of these backcountry trails really don't see that many hikers. Anyway, the person who found it turned it in, and now it's on display in the visitor center. So I went to the visitor center yesterday just to get a map, and, well, it was locked. They did have a couple rangers posted up outside, though, to answer questions. And I asked about the rifle, and the one ranger was actually cool enough to let me and a couple other people go into the visitor center, even though it was closed, and see the rifle. And it was friggin' amazing. I think it said it was like an 1881 rifle. And you can see, I'll put the pictures in here, how weathered the wood was. I mean, let's just assume it was made in 1881 and some trapper left it leaning on a tree in like 1884. So 1884 to 2014 was like 130 years or something. That's a long time for a rifle to be sitting out in the elements. It was really cool to see that rifle. And then they had a replica down below that in normal times you could actually handle the replica, but because it was the virus, we weren't allowed to touch anything. But still, it was cool that that ranger let us in to at least see it, because that was one of the main things I was interested in about coming to this national park. I just think that's such a cool story, and it's so emblematic of Nevada, how vast and rugged and desolate and virtually unexplored a lot of the interior of this state is. I mean, no telling what you'll find out there. Another thing I really wanted to see while I was here is this one ancient bristlecone tree. Bristlecone pines are these trees that grow to be thousands and thousands of years old. A lot of people think that the giant redwood tree is the oldest tree. Well, that's not the case. Yes, redwood trees are huge and very stately, and they're the biggest trees, but they're not the oldest. The oldest trees are actually these things called, well, hold on, there's a qualifier. Bristlecone pines are the oldest non-clonal organisms on Earth. Aspen trees like this, I don't really understand totally what's meant by this, but aspen trees can grow in a colony. So that means they're clonal. They have like a shared root system. So there is a colony of aspen trees, I think in Colorado, that's like 40,000 years old. But as far as non-clonal, like individual organisms, bristlecone pine trees are the oldest on Earth. And gosh, the oldest one I think that they've documented is like over 5,000 years old. I actually made a video hiking around the forest where it is. They don't tell you exactly which tree it is because they don't want anyone to deface it, or cut it down. Because guess what? Here in Great Basin Park, long before they found that bristlecone pine, which is over in the White Mountains on the border of California and Nevada, well, before they found that, the current record holder, there was another tree here that they called Prometheus. That I think it was back in the 60s. Some tree researcher was looking for old trees, and for whatever reason he decided to cut it down and count the rings. And well, by golly, after he cut it down, he realized it was the oldest tree on Earth and he had just killed it. So I think the stump of Prometheus is still up here somewhere. And I kind of wanted to see that, but the ranger said they don't tell people where that is. I don't know why, it's already dead. Oh my God, what an epic friggin' trail. Look at this. Great Basin, y'all. Holy moly. All right, I'm gonna stop for a minute and do a status check. I'm at 12,780 feet, which means I have about 300 more feet to go. Just right up there. But it's not the most pleasant trail in the world. I mean, once we came out of the tree line down there, well, you can kind of see that ridge, that barren lunar ridge. That's what I've been hiking along for the last, oh gosh, mile and a half and 2,000 feet of elevation gain. It's really, well, I mean, the views off to each side are nice, but it's not a very scenic trail. And it was actually kind of hard to keep track of because, well, once the trail becomes all rock, like here you can see it's pretty well defined because there's dirt, but there were some parts where it was just rock. And I went off trail a few times. So, gosh, I've probably hiked 4 miles already. And especially considering I keep shooting B-roll of myself hiking, so I have to set the camera up, hike ahead, then hike back and get my camera, and then hike back again. So, gosh, with all that, I've probably already gone 12 miles. Just kidding. Anyways, 300 more feet. I can do this. I made it, I think. I don't know. I don't see a flag or a ammo can. Oh, here's a USGS marker. It says, oh gosh, I can't even read it. It's all worn away. I mean, there is this kind of wind shelter built around here, but maybe that far point there, that little nipple, as it were, that might be the actual summit. Let's see. You know, I'll bet you anything on the other side of this rock pile, there's a place to sit and enjoy the view, and that's where the little trail register ammo can thing is. No. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. I've never hiked to the top of a well-known summit like this before that didn't have something I could sign, and I thought I read online that there was some. And well, what's more, there's not even really that good of a view from here because that other peak's blocking it. I mean, it's still an amazing view. Holy cow. Or I'll give you guys a 360 of what it looks like. Okay, so here's the road I drove up and the trail I hiked up. That's Sacramento Pass, that wind farm. We'll go over to that peak and look at that side later. But over here we got Nevada, some more of the Snake Range. I guess where I camped last night is down there somewhere in one of those canyons. And then back around to the Utah-Nevada border. I mean, Utah is just like right there, like on the other side of them green circles. Okay, now I'm gonna, I guess, hike back over to that first wind shelter, and maybe I just somehow missed the ammo can because I feel like that USGS marker, that's probably the summit. Hey, I made it! Woo! As I was hiking back over to that USGS marker, I saw this little flash of pink, and look at that, there's a mailbox. I'm gonna go back around into that wind shelter and check it out. Oh wow, look at this. Man, I just love finding these things. Wonderhussy. She'll hike 13,000 feet just to open a rusty old mailbox full of crap. Okay, well, first of all, there's a few stickers on the outside. Toxic, I'm not sure what that means. Something about save the bees. Oh, Seeking Lost. I feel like I've heard of that. I think it's an Instagram account I follow. Anyways, there's a lot of books in here. Oh, look, hiking Las Vegas. Man, we're a ways from Vegas. Oh, look, there's a little sign. Oh, how cute. That you can hold up for your photos. What's this? Aw, somebody brought pictures of their cats up here. Cosmo and Bodhi. Aw, what cuties. Okay, what else? Oh, a patch? Camp Happy 2020. 25th annual road trip to Great Basin National Park. Oh, wow. Glad the virus didn't stop them. These are just parts of the notebook. Oh, there's a bottle of water in case you need drinking water. That's probably a lifesaver for some people. What else? What's this? Oh, it's like electrolyte powder. A space blanket. Oh, gosh. Glad I won't be needing that. Some toilet paper. A lighter. That's useful if you had to start a fire, but gosh, what are you gonna burn? There's no firewood up here. It's all just rocks. Ooh, I would not want to be stuck up here overnight. Well, the first thing I'm gonna do is put one of my own stickers on this mailbox. I'm running out of these stickers and I can't remember whoever designed it for me, your name. So if you email me, I'll order some from you. There, I'll put it right there. Should be colorful enough where people will notice it, even if it's tucked away like that. Well, it actually got kind of chilly up here, so I had to put on my windbreaker. I'm really glad I brought it. And I decided to sit down and have my lunch because, it's, well, it's almost 2 o'clock now. It was like 1:30 when I got up here, and I left the car just after 11. So what is that? A little over 2 hours. I'd say like 2 hours, 15 minutes to get to the top. Not bad. That was a better pace than I thought. Basically what I'm saying is it's after lunchtime now, so I'm going to have my string cheese and my apple. And look at this trail register, which I already found a really kind of sad entry. It's cute though, look. Okay, this entry was made on May 30th of this year. No shortcuts to the top. I know you always loved seeing these gorgeous places I have traveled, and I'm sorry I didn't call more often. But just know that I won't stop pursuing the beauty that is on this earth and seeing the love in people. I will keep climbing mountains and traveling for you. I'll love you forever and always, Mama, and I miss you dearly. Blair from Reno. Okay, wow. If that isn't the saddest entry in one of these things I've ever read. To me it sounds like, well, it looks like it's a guy's handwriting. Blair could go either way. Looks like it's a guy who has always liked hiking and exploring and adventuring, and I guess he didn't call his mom as often as he should have, and now that she's gone, passed away, he's sorry that he didn't, but he's basically still doing this stuff in her memory. And it's really sweet, and it kind of reminds me of my own situation, as I'm sure it does remind many of you of yours. Call your mom! I'm going to text my mom as soon as I get cell signal. Okay, well, to be honest, there's not a lot of super interesting entries in these notebooks. Come to find out, it's a pretty fairly often summited trail. There's a lot of entries in here from fairly recently. But I did see one thing that I thought was pretty cool. Look at this. Look at this guy. On August 5th, so just 5 days ago, Eric Poulin, day 66, pioneering the new 1,100-mile Basin and Range Trail through Nevada. YouTube, Seeking Lost. I knew that sticker seemed familiar. I think I, read an article about this dude. He's pioneering a new long-distance hiking trail all the way through, well, the entire state of Nevada. I guess 1,100 miles. Wow, man, I sure would like to run into him, but looks like I missed him by 5 days, and he's probably already up in Idaho by now. I'm gonna have to check out his YouTube channel. Okay, and then I made my own little entry. Just said, Nevada is so underrated. Love my home state. Respect and love to my fellow hikers. All right, well, I guess I'm going to put all this stuff back in the mailbox, and I better take a picture with the old Wheeler Peak sign. All right, well, I guess I'm going to strap on my pack and get on down off of this mountain, because it's chilly up here, and I'm still hungry, and, well, somebody else just showed up, so he walked in on me talking to myself. Oh wait, before I leave, I forgot this sticker here on the front. Look, it's Chewbacca riding a bike, and it says Burning Man Bike Course. Bump yeah. Oh man, that's what I'd normally be doing right now, is getting ready for Burning Man, but because of the dang coronavirus, it's been canceled too. So instead of preparing to do all kinds of unspeakable things, I'm out here hiking and getting fresh air. Oh my god, you guys. I was just thinking to myself when I was going down, well, you can't see now because I'm below the tree line, but that part of the trail at the top that just went down that sort of lunar scree slope, and it was pretty friggin' steep. I guess that's where a lot of the elevation gain was. That last part, very unpleasant, let me say. Going down wasn't even that much better, because going down you had to be careful where you step. And anyway, once I finally got below that scree slope and got to the tree line, I thought to myself, what would it take to get me to hike back up there? You know, for some reason I play these sick, twisted games with myself. Like, what if somebody offered me $1,000? Would I hike back up? Oh, I know it's a lot of money, and well, I'm very cheap, so I would sure like $1,000, but I didn't think I would climb back up for $1,000. Okay, well, what about $10,000? Oh, $10,000, yes, I would hike back up there for $10,000, because that's like a significant amount of money. Well, what about $5,000? What about $2,500? Playing this stupid game with myself. I think I gave up around 25. I said I would do it for 5, 25. I snapped out of it and went, why am I thinking about this unpleasant stuff? Let me just enjoy the hike down. Well, ironically enough, I was doing just that, and I made it, oh gosh, I was only about a mile from my car. And I thought, oh, let me stop for a minute and do a little update, talk about how the hike went and some thoughts. And I reached for my selfie stick because while I was hiking down, I wasn't really shooting footage. So I disassembled my rig that I use for shooting, which, well, I don't know how I can show you it, but there's a shadow of it right there. It's a little mini handheld tripod, and it's got a poofy microphone on top it's a poofy windscreen, so that way if conditions are windy, I still get good audio and it's not that annoying sound. But, you know, while I was hiking, I took the tripod part, or the selfie stick holder, off of the phone, so that way I could put the phone in my little hiking pack, and then I tucked the selfie stick tripod part with the microphone attached into my waistband. And so I kind of hooked it into my waistband with the big furry windscreen on top. So as I was hiking along, every now and then I'd pat the windscreen, make sure it was there and hadn't fallen out. Well, guess what happened? Apparently the clamp that holds the phone in place unscrews, comes apart, and the whole bottom part had fallen off. So when I went to reach for it to do my little update down by the car, I went, oh no, my tripod's gone. So long story short, I went, I guess I better hike back up and try to find it. Now remember, this is coming from someone who just basically decided they wouldn't go back up there for $1,000, but I'm willing to hike back up for a $30 tripod? Well, and the knowledge that I didn't litter? Well, here's what saved me. There was the guy who came up on me when I was up top. That hiker, he was really fast, young guy all by himself, and so he was descending really rapidly behind me, and so right around where I finally got back to the tree line, I let him pass me. And so I figured if I had dropped my tripod while he was still behind me, he probably would have seen it on the trail, and more than likely he would have asked me, hey, did you drop this, when he passed me. And since he didn't say anything, well, either he was a jerk, either he was going pretty fast and he didn't have poles or anything. He was real minimalist. I liked his style, but he was probably kind of like keeping his eye on his feet, like so he didn't trip. So maybe he just didn't see it. I don't know. But I decided, okay, I'll hike back up to the tree line, to the place where I let him pass me. And if I don't see it by then, well, I'll go to the nearest Walmart, which is a couple hundred miles away, and rig something up. But the good news is I only ended up having to hike back up about, well, let's see, 14 minutes, I think, 13, 14 minutes. So, I don't know, maybe like 3/4 of a mile, because I was hustling. So, 3/4 of a mile up, and then 3/4 of a mile back was a mile and a half. Okay, I tacked on an extra mile and a half to this hike. And with all the running back and forth for B-roll and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and say an extra 2 miles, bringing the total distance of this hike for me personally to 10 miles. Man, I am tired. Although I will say that those socks that I'm wearing that I talked about earlier really are living up to the hype. I don't know, they have like some kind of weirdly soft lining or something. My feet, I don't feel like I have any blisters forming. My toes are kind of uncomfortable because of all the downhill, steep downhill. I have long toes. And even though I have hiking boots with a really wide toe box, they still kind of, the ends of the toes bump up against the toe of the shoe. But other than that, yeah, no complaints, man. These socks are awesome. They're called Darn Tough. And I'll put a link to them in the description to this video. And I'll also add them to my recommended gear list. You guys might not realize I keep a little Amazon storefront with different products that I've used and found to be really good. So I'll put them there. The link to that storefront is always in the description of all my videos too, so check it out. Oh, I hear cars. I see cars. Ah, I'm almost at the road. Woohoo! Now I'm really looking forward to the best part of any hike, and that is taking off my dang boots, taking off my dang socks, and putting on my blessed flip-flops. Because yeah, these socks were comfortable, but no matter how comfortable your socks are, they're never as comfortable as no socks.